Hey everyone, today is the evening of May 2nd, 2025. I decided to make a vlog right now because I have never seen a road with so many big puddles on it. There was also a big flood I just drove through. It wasn't deep, but the length of it was insane how much of the road was flooded. It's been absolutely pouring the past couple of days. This road isn't really soft. Rain is not really what makes it soft. It's the frost heaving that we're worried about on some of these roads. In the dark areas of the woods, there's still a lot of snow. We just gotta make sure we don't get stuck in mud with this truck with no winch. Right now, we're basically taking a shortcut road between two main arteries. Once we make it down this a few more miles, we're gonna hit a main road, which will definitely not have any issues because very big trucks pack it down all summer long. This is also used a lot by trucks in the summer, so we might not find issues here either, but I am finding a lot of ponding on the road. Tonight there's supposed to be a windstorm out here, so we might have to chainsaw our way out in the morning. And the reason is right now the temperature is 40 degrees or 5 degrees Celsius, but overnight it's supposed to drop below freezing slightly after the rain stops at midnight. Rain's supposed to stop at midnight. We're supposed to go a little below freezing, so it might slightly ice up. But tomorrow's gonna be close to 80 degrees. Or I think that's about 22 Celsius or 24 Celsius. It's gonna be feeling like summer out here tomorrow. And because of that temperature swing, I think it's gonna get very windy tonight. That's the way it is. When you want the temperature to change so drastically from below freezing to summer-like in just a course of half a day, there's usually a lot of wind involved, blowing in a warm front of air. But we're camping out here tonight. I set up a tent inside of a concrete structure I found out on one of the very remote roads that no one's gonna go down it. I had to cut up multiple trees that fell down throughout the winter to get out there. It's a mud hole of a road, but very, very secluded spot. It's about an hour away. We've been driving a bit. This is a 90-minute loop, so we're out for at least a couple more hours. I'm trying to get a little bit of moose footage so I can add it to my camping video. If we see any moose, I'll just pull it out of this footage. But I thought it's good to make a vlog. It's usually not raining so much when we're out here, and it'll make sure I capture any moose we see. Because sometimes I don't even get to pull the camera out in time when we do spot a moose or something. I almost went down a road that we filmed a couple weeks back. I made it with my truck, but it was a risk, but I had a winch, so I would have got myself out of whatever trouble I would have found. This truck doesn't have a winch, so I wasn't going to try going down the same road because I'm imagining that the snow is gone, but it's probably a mud hole because it was only 2 weeks ago. I got to get this thing out of the road. That'll scrape the truck up. This is a rental. I can't scrape it up. But I can get it as dirty as I want, they said, because they said they like pressure washing. Couldn't move it. It's wedged in there in a way you just can't get it out. That's why there's certain trees that aren't that big, but I don't try dragging them with the truck because they're wedged. That trunk is wedged in between a bunch of other stuff. But what I was just trying to say is didn't want to go down that road because it was probably all muddy. So we're taking a different route here that I haven't been down in a long time. But even though it's dark, I can still do inspections on it as we drive slowly looking for issues, and I can tag it. I don't mind it raining. And the rain looks like it's going to calm down. It should shut off by midnight, the forecast says. But who knows? That weather reading I got from like a 2-hour drive away. There's no signal out here to do that. But it's supposed to be really nice tomorrow. But when I backed up to get out of that road, I can't even turn my neck around to look out the back window. I don't know, I pulled a muscle in my neck. I've done this before. Usually goes away by the time I wake up in the morning, but it's uncomfortable when you're driving and you gotta keep turning your neck. The sky's starting to get pink, that's nice. As I'm out here, I'm realizing that this truck is really nice. It does run very nice, but I miss my old truck because, and I can't wait to get it back, because this rental doesn't have a lot of things that I'm used to. It also has a bunch of annoyances in it too. Today I was bored. I finally figured out how to get the radio on it to work. It's got a satellite radio, so that's good to listen to, I guess. You can listen to the news and music, but there's no winch, there's no skid plates, so I gotta be pretty careful. It's got road tires, and today when I was pouring gasoline cans, you stick the funnel in, it doesn't have a gas cap, it has one of those stupid trapdoor things. I don't know why. If you ever break that, you have to replace the whole assembly down inside it, which is annoying. Just a way to make money off people, I guess, instead of putting a gas cap. But the point is, when you stick a funnel in there, it keeps trying to eject the funnel. So you gotta hold the funnel and somehow hold a heavy gas can with the other hand. I spilled a bit of gas because the funnel kept popping out. And I thought, because it wasn't doing it at first, it only started ejecting the funnel when the gas tank got over half full. I assumed maybe it was full. I came in here and checked it. Nope, it wasn't full. It kept ejecting it, so that was pretty annoying. This is kind of pretty here. This is a lot prettier in person. And in these off-road scenarios, this truck gets actually worse mileage than mine does. Because mine is geared very low. It's geared for off-road. All the gears are low. It suffers if you drive faster than 50 or 60 miles an hour. When you're going highway speed or going 70 or 80 miles an hour, it eats fuel. It can do it, but it has to get higher RPM because it maxes out in its highest gear. This truck doesn't max out. You could go 80 and it gets really good gas mileage just because it's got 10 gears. On the highway, this truck gets 28 mpg. It does really good on-road, but it seems to suffer a bit off-road. It's got the same size tires and everything. It's got a double turbo V6, I believe, with the hybrid system, so it switches back and forth to battery. But from a reliability standpoint, I wouldn't want to own this car, or I wouldn't want to own this truck. It's so many electrical things in here that could potentially go wrong. And my uncle has a truck just like this. It doesn't have the hybrid system, but it's the same engine, I believe. The double turbo V6 Ford, and he has to replace turbos like every 30,000 miles. It requires more maintenance, and these engines, a lot of reviews say they have catastrophic failures before 150,000 miles, and something that's also known for the transmissions not lasting very long. Typically, an engine or a transmission is going to show you warning signs first, but still, I bought a truck that's known to get 300, 400,000 miles before catastrophic failure, and that's why I bought it. Off-road, normal driving around town, it gets the same gas mileage as this truck. It only suffers when you try to drive it fast or you try to drive it hard. But at the same time, I got to admit, this truck is very, very fun to drive. It kind of drives like a sports car. It picks up extremely fast because of the drive motors. I gotta get this one out of the road too. I think I moved it enough. I hurt my neck a little bit, so that's not fun to be moving things like that right now. I'm trying to stretch it out. It's not working great. I should honestly probably take a pill for it. I'm always told that if you take like a pain pill, like a ibuprofen for that it'll help get rid of inflammation around it. So maybe I should do that. I got all the normal tools and medications that I usually have in my truck. I transferred over everything to this truck when I brought it into the body shop. Wait a second. Yeah, it's kind of pretty here. This fork with the sunset. I want to get a still picture of that. It's kind of nice looking. I think it's kind of nice looking. But, yeah. So I set up everything in here exactly how I'm used to it being in my truck. It makes things a lot easier. In my truck, I deleted the back seat, but I was able to throw my same mattress in the back seat here. It almost fits. It's fine. I'm sleeping alone on this trip, so it don't really matter. But there's no way you're gonna fit two people in the back of this four-door truck with the seat not deleted, because it doesn't flatten down with enough space. My bed usually takes up the footroom and the seat and where the back of the seat is. That's why I got rid of the seat. I built like a wooden platform in my truck so I could keep all my tools underneath it. Oh my gosh, that is sketchy. Look at that. We don't want that to fall on us. We're going under. It's being held up well enough the way it's snapped. I don't know what's holding up the other end of it though. But if it happens to be on the ground, if we're forced back, we'll drag it out of here. I dragged a couple things with this truck today out of the road that I didn't want to bother sitting there with a handsaw cutting. One of them was super satisfying. I thought I was going to pull a tree out of the road, but the trunk was wedged into the woods where you couldn't pull it. So the truck it snapped it in half. And when it snapped it, because the tree was wet, it made like a poof of water droplets everywhere. That was really cool to get on camera. Really cool. Because this truck does have a lot more power than my mid-size truck. My mid-size truck can only pull 6,000 pounds before you max it out. This is an F-150. I believe it can pull 10,000 pounds. It's nice having more space, having a full-size truck. Until you start going down very tight roads and you realize it's kind of, I'm taking a picture of that, that's really pretty. Then you realize you want it to be like a foot narrow. You realize that actually makes a difference down some of the trails. This truck's also not lifted, but I haven't found an issue with that yet. This truck corners very, very well too. It rides extremely well. I think it's because it's heavier and it has the battery system. It has the drive motors, a bunch of extra heavy things that my truck doesn't have. Someone in my comments was asking if my suspension goes bad a lot because of my extra fuel tank and skid plates. If you think about it, the extra fuel tank, oh wow, this is super pretty. Look at that. Look at the sunset there. Let's shut the wiper off for a second because I want to snap a few pictures. That's really pretty. If you zoom in, it even looks pretty too. Let's try to get some pictures of that. I'm not used to the wipers in this truck either. I'm used to the wipers being where this truck's shifter is, so I'm not used to that, but I haven't made a mistake yet. In these modern vehicles, they won't let you do a accidental transmission drop, which means you're going forward and you click it into reverse. It won't let you do that, even if I accidentally did that. It'll let you do that at like 10 or 20 miles an hour. It's programmed like that so it won't cause damage. That could still cause damage. Don't do that. The newer transmissions on vehicles have hardened steel gears for longevity. They last a lot longer. Old vehicles had softer gears in the transmissions. That's why a lot of times transmissions would go bad faster, because they wear out. But they also, the teeth on the gears wouldn't snap because of that. If you did stupid burnouts and things like that, those type of vehicles. Whoa. The road is fine, like 50 feet ahead of me. I don't know if I want to gun this or not. We're on one of those suspicious soft areas there. We don't have a winch, so should I gun it? I'm gonna try going slowly out of these ruts. Okay, I gotta figure out, well, why does the high beam keep turning on and off? Okay, did it again. Yeah, I don't think we should take this risk today with a truck with no winch. We're out moose watching. I was gonna do some inspections on this road. That's basically what I'm doing as I'm driving, but yeah, we need to get the heck out of this. Now I'm backing into a soft spot. We're getting out of this. I'm not doing something dumb here. Not with this truck. The whole road was solid right until here. The reason it's opening up really, really bad right there, I gotta figure out how I just drove in here, because I keep hitting soft spots, and the problem is I can't turn my neck around. Ugh. And the backup camera's covered in mud. You're gonna turn around now. But the road was fine to this point. It's really soft right there, because that must have been a spot where the ground was, okay, you see how it's all wet right there? It was also wet like that when it froze, which means it's solid ice that has to melt out. So those places will have mud problems a lot longer. Come out here in another month or so, even if it's pouring rain, you're not gonna have mud in the same spot, because it's all gonna settle really hard, if you get what I mean. So we're turning around now. I guess you guys will get to see that massive flood I was telling you about. Because we didn't have any problems. Now we got to backtrack. It's kind of unfortunate. I wasn't going to gun it through that. If I was driving my truck, I would have gunned it through that, because if I got stuck, I could have winched. We were a little more than halfway through to the other main artery where I was going to do a loop, but better safe than sorry. If I get this truck stuck, I gotta come along. It's gonna be a bad night. It's supposed to rain for the next 4 or 5 hours out here, and I don't want to be slowly using a come along. It was a good scenario for it. It was going uphill a little bit, so we wouldn't have rolled. I would have left the truck in neutral and slowly moved it forward. If it was still stuck, it wouldn't have moved backwards by itself while I disconnected and reconnect everything again, because the come-along's not long enough. I would be using it with a bunch of tow straps linked together, slowly moving it forward. Thankfully, I haven't ever had to use the come-along to get a vehicle out. But I know it could, because I've moved massive white pine trees with it, and those things weigh a ton. And the winch is rated at, no, the come along is rated at 10,000 pounds. It could probably move this truck. I don't know what this truck weighs, but I'm imagining probably around 6,000 pounds. A little, probably 1,500 pounds more than my truck. I got sidetracked. Someone was talking about my fuel tank and skid plates weighing a lot. No. My extra fuel tank and the fuel tank on board is about 55 gallons. It's only a couple 100 pounds of fuel, maybe another 100 or 200 pounds. The skid plates, which are aluminum, they don't weigh a lot. So think of it like, here's this weird tree again. Think of it like having 3 passengers. It's not a big deal. Especially for a truck that's made to be moving things in trailers. It's not going to hurt anything. Plus, the auxiliary gas tank is literally made for that vehicle. It is not a factory part, though. So I'll give you that. This truck, the hybrid system, does help out a bit. I mentioned in one of my videos that this truck was getting like almost 700 miles of range. Yes, on the pavement, on the highway. The hybrid system works out pretty good. The hybrid system works out pretty good even off-road. Today it is suffering because of the mud. It's doing worse than my truck would be doing because it's built for off-road. This truck is not. So right now it's telling me today overall we're getting 15 mpg. That's about the same, maybe a little worse than my truck would be doing in this same scenario. And its range, we have almost a full tank of gas because I filled it up with gas cans off-road. We're getting about 400 miles of range right now on a tank. It lost almost half of its range because of these muddy conditions. And today it says we drove so far 253 miles. It says 78 of those miles. Let me start again. We have driven 253 miles today, and 78 of those miles were electric powered. Even though they're electric powered, it's not really helping with the fuel economy. This double turbo V6 hybrid is currently getting worse mileage than the average V8 truck that is naturally aspirated. So, for that reason right there, if I ever do get a full-size pickup, and I might someday because I want to be able to move around heavier trailers and heavy equipment with it, I'll get a naturally aspirated V8. Probably a used Tundra because they don't make it anymore, so you can't buy it new. So I'd probably get one of those because they last forever. Or I might also get one of the diesel trucks with the Allison transmission. Those last a very long time also. But yeah, it's not worth it because basically driving through this mud is acting as if we're hauling a load. A hybrid V6 turbo does great when you're not pulling anything, but it's a small engine, and if you're actually putting a load on it like we are right now with all these horrible mud holes, it's bogging us down as if we have a load. It's getting worse than the V8 truck would be getting. A regular non-electric V8 without turbos. It's getting worse than that type of truck right now because of what we're doing with it. You're either going to have a small engine that's stressing itself out, moving a big load, and it's going to break itself prematurely, or you get the big engine that idles really slow and lasts a long time. That's the trade-off. This is a very efficient truck, but it won't go as far. I've seen people with the same sort of issues. I've known people who have the same sort of truck. Like I said, my uncle drives the same sort of truck. He don't really care that he has to replace the turbos every now and then. He doesn't care that the truck probably won't go to 200,000 miles. He doesn't care because most people on average only drive about 15,000 miles a year. On the other hand, doing road inspections and stuff, myself, traveling and filming things, I drive about 50,000 miles a year. That means a truck with that sort of engine will probably be in the junkyard in 3 or 4 years, or you're gonna have to replace the engine. And if it has a problem, it better not have a problem on this type of road. No one's gonna drive down this road probably for weeks in this condition. If I get stuck out here, I better figure out how to get myself out of it, or you're gonna have a very long walk. Actually, this road here, that being said, we probably only have to walk half a day to either end of it to get to the main artery. Then somebody would probably drive by at some point throughout the day. There's not a lot of traffic out here. And I don't want to get stuck. I know what it feels like to be stuck out here an entire day with a vehicle that doesn't have a winch. But that wasn't a breakdown. That was just a couple years back. I wasn't as experienced with these awful, awful roads. But we get pretty good footage with a vehicle that's able to drive where most vehicles can't. Like, it's very, very rare to see a truck with a winch. You see them every now and then, yes, but 0.something% of people even have that. So that allows me to get footage of floods and stuff where most vehicles wouldn't go, where most people wouldn't take the risk. I don't know what's happening right now. You see how, I don't know if it's the fog lights or the headlights, something keeps turning on and off, and I cannot tell you why. It's not even on automatic mode. There's like a control here for it. Every time I start the truck from off, it's automatically on automatic, and I have to change it. I'm not sure why it won't keep that setting. The four-wheel drive works pretty good. And just outright, this truck being heavier than mine seems to help it a lot with traction. That seems to help a lot. It being a full-size truck, it seems to help, even without the aggressive tires. When I used to have city tires like this has, yes, it gives you a quieter, smoother ride, but I used to get flats out here multiple times a year. Since I got heavy off-road tires that are very hard, they're likely to bend anything that would go through a regular tire. I haven't got a flat in a very, very long time. But, of course, because I'm prepared for a flat today, I brought my heavy-duty floor jack. I brought 2 spare tires, a plug kit, all kinds of stuff out here. Of course, because I have that, it's not going to happen. When you're prepared for an emergency doesn't happen. The emergency happens the day you forget those things at home. But in these muddy conditions like this, scissor jacks are awful. If you have like a piece of lumber, then you're all set. But I'd rather not use a scissor jack. I like having a more stable floor jack. Although a scissor jack has the advantage of lifting you straight up, when a floor jack, as it's lifting, is going to pull you slightly to the side. Usually not a problem because it has wheels. What I have is an off-road jack. It has pretty big wheels, but the wheels are designed to sink into the ground so that it can rest on top of a skid plate that the jack has. Pretty cool. It was worth the investment. It's from Harbor Freight. Some people will badmouth the Harbor Freight things, but those things have been getting a lot better over the years, and they have great warranties. I wouldn't get a warranty on a jack, and I'm also not stupid enough to go underneath the vehicle solely relying on the jack. I'd put a jack stand under there before I would trust that. But it works really good. It's a massive jack and it's completely aluminum, so you can pick it up really easily. You bring it out in these rough scenarios. It doesn't rust because it's aluminum. Parts of it are steel. They will rust, but everything you see is not going to rust, so it's going to keep looking good, but that's not really the problem. The skid plate, the part that actually touches the gravel and stuff, that's going to rust if I don't every now and then paint it or something. Slow it down. Ooh, we must have switched direction because now it's suddenly looking pretty in the other direction. One thing that is interesting, every time I slow down, this truck does use regenerative braking, and it tells me how much power it regains every time I slow down, or every time I take my foot off the gas while going down a hill. It's slightly recharging its battery. The battery doesn't go very far. It typically only goes a few hundred feet down the road before the engine kicks in. And if you touch the gas, the engine starts immediately. Oh, no, 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 no. This is getting a little soft here. Why does the headlight only flash when you hit a bump? Is it trying to warn me of something? You know what it might be? Something electrical on the truck might be kicking in to help with traction or something along those lines, and it's taking power away from the headlights? Maybe? I don't know. I remember like 3 years back down this hill here, Beavers had this area flooded. Beavers haven't been here in a while. We just went over a very big fuel tank culvert. I think we're coming up to the big flood. Oh, if the flood is here, I figured out why it's flooding. The river we just went over might be backing up. Okay, that's definitely the fog lights that are turning on and off, but I don't know why. What's that? Oh, it's a bird. Yeah, things in this truck are different than the Toyota I'm used to. I just tried to shut the headlight off. You gotta reach down underneath the dashboard to shut the headlight off. We could be blinding the bird. I'm just giving it a chance to get out of the way. Move forward a little bit to scare it. It's not moving. It's weird. Actually, is that just me, or is that bird glowing? A weird color. Yeah, this truck also got the stupid start-stop thing that I don't know how to shut off. But it's not moving, but I guess we can go around it. Yeah, it's not on. It flew away. Good. It's gonna land back there again. It might be blinded by the light. We can't go super far off to the side because, okay, it ran up onto the side. It's safe. If we can't go off to the sides on a road like this, we'll get stuck. You got to stay right in the center. Okay, this might be related to that river, but I think we may have just gone up in elevation. This is that big flood I was talking about that we have to drive through. Yeah, I'm not sure why the fog light keeps turning on and off. It's showing me right now that the automatic stuff is off. So I don't know why that's happening. I'm not sure. Okay, that's the fog lights on, off. We'll go ahead and keep them on. I'm not sure why they were flicking on and off by themselves. High beam back on. It's wired dumb, just like my truck. You can't run them both at the same time. It's either high beam or fog lights. I'd choose the high beam because I can see up ahead. I think it's weird that the light control is down. You can't see the light control. You gotta like move your head way over to the side because it's like under the steering wheel. I feel like that's a really weird position for it. But I do kind of like the shifter being up by the steering wheel. If this was the type of truck that had the bench, that would make a lot of sense. I like the trucks that have 3 seats or a bench. I do like those. Or it would also be honestly very, very cool to have a truck where the console is completely removed and you just have floor between the 2 seats. And it kind of turns into like a little camper and you just can easily step back to your bed instead of crawling over the console. That would be kind of cool too. Kind of set up like a semi-truck. There's no console between the seats and you just walk right back to the bed. That'd be kind of cool if they had a truck set up like that. It probably exists, I just haven't seen it. There's another flood. There's gonna be a lot more floods we're about to drive through up here as we make our way back to the main road. Yeah, we're gonna, as long as it's dark, we're gonna stay off these side roads, which are a hazard to getting stuck. The mud is so much worse when the ground is still frozen because the top couple feet of soil cannot drain because it's solid ice deep underground still. And with the rain, it just can't drain in certain areas. Most of this road is draining. It's not a mud hole. Most of this is thawed. Okay, the high beam is on. What do I keep seeing turning on and off? I don't get it. Something is turning on and off as I'm driving. And it's only this road. It wasn't doing it prior to this road. It doesn't like something about this road. The truck. See, it did it again. I hit the gas hard. Move things around. It has nothing to do with power. I don't know. I don't like the technology in this. I specifically bought my truck before Toyota redesigned it and basically ruined it with a turbo hybrid option only like this. And it's super simple. You go in there, there's physical knobs for everything. You know, some people love these things. They love technology. I don't. I like to keep it simple where I can fix most things myself. Like this doesn't have knobs or anything. This truck, if you want to turn the air conditioning, like adjust a lot of things on here. Well, it actually does have a knob for the air conditioner, but like if you want to control what vents are working, it's all computerized. The computer sends a signal to the motors that control the dampers and direction of where everything goes. I like having that stuff be more mechanical. It's more reliable in my eyes. There's a lot of technology I don't like in here. But I'm just voicing an opinion. I'm probably pissing somebody off by saying that. Because of what I do for a job, I will always choose reliability over efficiency. And when you're using a truck, as I'm demonstrating in this video, these efficient trucks actually get worse mileage in this type of off-road scenario. And honestly, half of the miles I've put on my truck, it's now at, I think, 74,000 miles or so. Half, maybe even more, is off-road like this. The soft shoulder almost tried to pull me into that ditch. I really want to get off this road. Is the truck maybe warning me of it being soft? I still have yet to figure out what the light thing is. Let's see if it stops doing that up here. It did it again right now. It's still yet to figure that out. A lot of trees down. Did it again. It seems to do it when we pass something. There's another bird. Is a reflection of the high beam coming back telling it to shut it off? It shouldn't be, because it is not on automatic. Let's see what happens when we get to the wider road. It's coming up, I think, in a couple 100 feet. I'm not looking at a GPS or anything. I just saw something I recognized. Oop, tried to pull me again. We're done with this road at night. Visibility is also not that great. The camera can see better than the human eye, remember that. I can't see as good as that. Okay, now we're back out to the main artery. Let's see if it does it again. Okay, automatic is off, but it seems to be doing it when we pass an object, as if it's trying not to blind somebody, but it shouldn't be doing that. All the automatic stuff is off, and I know for a fact that that's not what it's doing, because I accidentally blinded someone the other day because I'm not used to the controls in this, and I couldn't figure out how to shut the high beam off quickly. It did not prevent me from blinding someone, so not sure about that. I do like seeing the live data it has in here. My truck also has that, but I like seeing the electrical part of it. I really, really like this truck on the highway. It can go from 0 to 70 in just a couple of seconds. It's very, very fast. Has no problem passing people. My truck doesn't have that many gears, so when you try to pass someone, you need a long runway to do so. This truck does not. It zips right around people. I really like that. But so will a V8. You know, you could. It's the transmission that's doing it. It's not the engine that's doing that. It's all the gears. It shifts very, very smoothly. It doesn't throw you back in your seat every time it shifts a gear. This truck, you can't even feel it shifting gears because it's got so many. I do absolutely love the efficiency in here, though. Real, real nice. I'm getting tired, so I think we're gonna head back to camp. I think we can be there in like 30 minutes. We're gonna head back to camp. Yeah. It's raining. We're not really gonna see a moose, and by the time it stops raining at midnight, moose are they're done for the night. They're most active at dusk. Maybe they'll decide to come out if it stops raining. I don't know. They like the hour and two leading up to and after dusk. 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning, you can see moose. They're just not super duper active. Is this my road? Nope. You can see a moose any time of the day, but they're most active at dusk, any time of the year, especially in the spring. That's the big time. In the spring, you can see a dozen moose a day if the weather's right. In the summer, especially if it's hot, they all retreat to Canada where it's cool. You're not going to see any if it's hot summer. If it's a normal summer, you'll see them here and there, but they're not really as active. Gotta be very careful of the shoulders. Very, very muddy on this road. Once we switch to the next main artery, there's an intersection coming up. That road is super solid because they have trucks all year long using that are super heavy, packing it down, and they engineered it a lot better for that reason. we're still very, very far out, and we've been on the road today 13 hours. We put together a camp, got out, done a ton of inspections. I'm very, very tired today. Very, very tired. We've been at this 13 hours. Because you wake up at the crack of dawn when you're sleeping in a vehicle sometimes. It depends. Definitely in the summer, because it'll start to cook you like a greenhouse if you're not under a tree. But I kind of like that. Gets me up bright and early. I'm more productive when I wake up with the sun and go to bed with the sun. I'm a lot more productive, depending what I'm doing. If I'm working in my house, I actually prefer to be up in the middle of the night. But out on these roads, there's no real reason to be out here at night. Unless you're looking for animals. Okay. Nope, that's not the road either. And when I say we're switching to a main artery, it's a road that's wider than this, more maintained than this, but it's going to be a very narrow, like, on-ramp going to it. The main arteries on the logging roads have, like, on-ramps of a highway, so the big trucks don't have to slow down. And it gives them better visibility. They don't have to come to a complete stop and go around an intersection. No 90-degree turns on the permanent logging roads, typically. They get in and out really fast. One thing that was irritating me that I found out this truck does, pebbles cannot fall out of the brake rotor guard. Now, it's normal for pebbles to get in there and start making a high-pitched screech. You just usually flex it with a screwdriver slightly and the rock will fall out. This truck, on the other hand, you can flex the top of the wheel guard or the rotor guard, but not the bottom. The bottom's like fixed in place with a bolt. You'd have to take the brake and the wheel off to access it, which is really dumb. I couldn't access it off-road. And the screeching was so excruciating and bad. I was on my way home to pressure wash it and take the wheel off. But after 3 hours of driving on my way home, the rock finally just blew itself to pieces and it stopped making noise. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but eventually it'll wear it out of there. I've been having a lot of fun driving this truck. I just wouldn't want to own something that's so advanced. And this thing is super advanced, and it's not even a fully loaded model. It's also not a base model, but it's not fully loaded. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, like heated seats, heated steering. It doesn't have that stuff that I know of. I've been looking around in here all day. If it's hiding somewhere in the computer screen like a lot of the controls are, that's why. I'm used to everything having physical buttons and mechanical knobs. I like that. The touchscreen is a lot to get used to. My truck doesn't even have a touchscreen, even though it's only 3 years old. It's all controlled, but buttons next to it. See, this is like an on-ramp. You can't see the yield sign, but there was one. I've been meaning to do that. You know what I kind of want to do? There's a lot of signs on these logging roads that you can't see them, and you won't even know they're there in the summer. I kind of want to just come out with a chainsaw, and every time I see a sign hiding in the trees, spend like 5 minutes and make it visible again. Just cut all the little trees growing in front of it to the ground. And it would take half a decade to get blocked again. We've been fixing a lot of signs this spring. Frost just lifts them up out of the ground. Doesn't matter if there's concrete on the bottom or not, so they don't even use concrete. If you don't bury something below the frost line, it's gonna have the ability to lift it up. Even foundations, it'll crumple them and ruin them. If it's well-drained soil and there's no water involved, then it will not do that, but every year's different. If we have a big rainstorm right before it freezes for the winter, that can change that. But up here, the frost line can go down sometimes 6 feet. We're really, really high up in Maine. Growing season here doesn't even start until June 15th. It's the coldest area. It was snowing earlier today. You'll see that in the camping video. It was snowing, and temperatures now are dropping. I feel like there's a chance of it switching over to snow again, but I don't think it'll accumulate. But we might wake up to a crisp morning. It's supposed to maybe go slightly below freezing. I haven't seen it icing up in a couple of weeks. I've seen frost here and there, but most nights are above freezing now, which is amazing for May 2nd. Last year we had a super deep freeze 3 hours south where I live, and that was May 26th. Super deep freeze. It even froze all the bird baths and stuff in the yard frozen. Super cold night. And up here I'm imagining it was even colder. Ooh, I hear tree frogs out there. Tree frogs are cool. They're resilient creatures. It can be below freezing and you'll still hear them peeping in the woods. I looked it up, and I even confirmed that. That is what I was hearing in the middle of the night. I know the sound of a tree frog, but I had to look it up anyways, just to make sure I'm 100% fact-checking that before I started saying that in videos. Yeah, the way they are, their bodies, even slightly below freezing, a frog, which is cold-blooded, it can still be out there, slightly below freezing, peeping and making noises and being active before it's forced to go back into a temporary hibernation. Yeah, with all this rain and stuff, it's kind of sad. All this rain is lining up with all the mating seasons of all the frogs. The reason that's sad is because the stupid frog doesn't know better. They're laying millions of eggs throughout these woods. There has to be probably billions of eggs out here. But I know I've personally seen hundreds of thousands. Most of these drainage ditches, there's frogs laying eggs everywhere. And the thing is, all these puddles will not be here even in a couple of days. I guess it's a lot of bird food. I don't even think a bird would be interested in that, but I guess that's the way nature works. Whether if humans were here or not, there's puddles in the woods everywhere that won't be there by the time those eggs even hatch, never mind when the tadpole would turn into a frog. That being said, some of these puddles that the frogs lay eggs in are ridiculously small. It wouldn't even be able to support enough food for those frogs, even if it didn't dry up. But that's the cycle of life out here. Something's eating it. It's meant to happen. That's why frogs lay so many eggs. They're one of the top prey animals. Just about everything would eat a frog. From a bear to a bird to insects. When the frog dies, everything wants a frog. These roads are getting sketchy. I can't wait to get back to camp and sleep. I'll probably end the vlog video here. Thank you for sticking around for almost an hour to the end of this vlog. Just listening to me rambling on while driving around looking for moose. We unfortunately didn't find any tonight, but thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night.